Good morning, everybody. Thank you for being here. Today, we're going to be talking about our crisis management plans, what it looks like, and how we respond to different types of emergencies. And most importantly, during those emergencies, how we're going to be communicating with each other. As a principal, we know that crises are not if, but they're when situations. And whether it's a fire, a weather emergency, an intruder on campus, the safety of the kids and staff is what we're going to plan on. Um, so that's just the most important thing whenever we're talking about crisis situations on campus. We're going to go over this sheet that everybody should have a copy of. Five major types of emergencies that hopefully we do not face, but that are emergencies that we could face. And those are fire, intruder, tornado, active shooter, and loss of electricity. For each of those, we're going to talk about how we're going to handle it. The big one is how we're going to communicate and what we can do ahead of time to plan so that whenever these things do occur, we kind of know what we're doing. It's not the first time. We've kind of practiced it a couple times, and we're just, ultimately trying to be as prepared as we possibly can. So the first one we got is fire. So type of emergency right here, and then we have the four different categories over the top. If there's a fire, the response has to be immediate and kind of automatic. The first action is that whoever finds the fire needs to activate a fire alarm that's located around your classroom. If you don't know where that fire alarm is compared to your classroom, then we need to make sure we get with your principal or get with myself so that we can find what the closest place is to you where one of those is to activate. Um, every teacher should have in their classrooms the route that you should take to get your kids to safety. It's a designated route and exit for every single classroom on campus. They've been made and handed out. You should have it posted. That's very important, making sure that it's good that you know where you need to be, but if there's a substitute teacher in your classroom, it should be posted somewhere that in the case of a fire emergency, they know the route and the way they need to exit the school and get somewhere. Students should be taught to line up quietly and follow directions. We're not taking backpacks. We're not stopping for phones. We're not stopping to grab jackets. It's an emergency. And we need to make sure that we're treating it as such. Okay. Um, we are going to be gathering at the designated safe zones. Each part of the school has a different safe zone that is marked on your map. And then once you get everyone outside the building, you need to make sure that you take roll. Go ahead and have your blue sheet out that allows you to count how many kids you're supposed to have, and make sure that it's your class of kids. Don't, if little Johnny is not supposed to be in your class, but he's hanging out with somebody that's in your class, make sure that you have everybody that is listed under you for that class period. The campus crisis team is going to make sure that all staff have accounted for all the students before we communicate with any fire personnel. They're going to be on their way once the alarm is pulled. And then if the alarm is pulled and it's not a drill, then the fire department will make sure that the fire is put out. And then they'll be the ones that let us know when we can re-enter. How to communicate. We will make sure that we announce on the intercom that, every single time that we have a drill, we announce it through email. So we'll make sure that this is not a drill. This is an emergency situation. The radios that are placed on the specific sides of the hallway where the crisis team is are going to be notified. We're going to get our parents notified through our call and text system. So they'll already know what's going on up at the school. And then after the incident, we're going to follow up with everybody to make sure that we know what happened and what safety steps were taken. So the intercom is going to be used for staff, and then we'll have the parents being let that, it's going to be text, phone call, and then the Facebook page is going to be used as well. The biggest thing that we can do to prepare for this is have regular fire drills. We have one every 6 weeks. Make sure that you try to treat it as a real life issue. Don't just go through the motions. The kids need to know where to go, how to act every single time. That way, whenever it does occur, it's not a surprise. We're going to make sure that we have monthly equipment checks and that all of our exits work properly so that everybody knows what to do and there's no panic. Individuals that will play a role in this is the fire department, maintenance staff, administrators, teachers, transportation director, if we have to relocate. So if it's a bad enough fire and we have to get people to another place, we have that plan and process with our bus drivers. All right, moving on. Intruder. This is where we have lockdown procedures. As soon as a potential intruder is identified, the office is going to send out a lockdown announcement through our GroupMe. It's going to be sent through the GroupMe, and then we're also going to announce over the intercom that we are in lockdown. Okay. So the lockdown announcement is going to be using calm, firm language. Teachers are supposed to lock their doors, turn off all the lights, keep students quiet and away from windows, and then follow any law enforcement instructions. Okay. Everybody has, we have lockout like the rhino things on the floor. So you'll be doing that kind of stuff. And you're just making sure that you do not open that door unless you have an all clear, or through your window or peephole, you are able to see a police officer or see a campus administrator. Once law enforcement arrives, they're going to take command of the scene. We'll make sure that we put that through the GroupMe. Parents are going to be notified after. So that's a big thing, is that we are not trying to have a bunch of dads come up here, shotguns blazing, trying to protect their babies. We're trying to let our plans and procedures happen. Prevention, just we're all going to be trained on how to do the door locks, how to, you flip it open, you put it down, and that is part of the process. And then making sure that all the kids are quiet and away from windows. In terms of prevention, we just got to make sure that all exits to the school are locked. You check it anytime that you're coming in through the morning. Make sure that nobody's leaving anything in the door, just to run out to the car real quick and run back. Use your keys. You have keys for a reason. And then we're going to make sure that we train you on how to keep incidents from escalating. During resolution, we're going to rely heavily on our resource officers, local police, administration, and counselors, and especially help students process what's happened afterwards. So not just moving on, but if we're in the situation, we're going to explain it to the kids, explain it to the parents, so that we can kind of grow from the situation. Every lockdown drill reinforces that we need to take it seriously and practice like it's real, because whenever the real one happens, we don't need to have absolute panic. That's not what we need to have during an intruder drill. Tornado. Living in Texas, weather can turn on you in an instant. It can be bright and sunshiny at one point, and then the next point you're having an absolute terrible storm. We're going to make sure that we move everyone to designated interior safe zones. So we have a couple of portables on campus. We're going to get those into the brick admin building. Everybody else is inside the main building, so we're going to get them to an interior wall with no windows. It's going to be in the hallways. They're going to teachers are going to have their emergency folders. Students are going to duck and cover, and we'll make sure to cover that. But your back's against the wall, knees are pulled to you, your head goes down. The intercom system is used to have direct communication with everybody. We are under tornado warning. Please move to a safe area is what's going to be announced, and that means that you need to get everybody calmly into the hallway, make sure there's no panic, keep everybody calm, sit down and get how you're supposed to be. Um, After the storm passes, the office is going to let you know, let the parents know through the text system and social media. If there's any building damage, we're going to make sure that we find the damage and we don't have kids around it pretty much so that we can plan on how to get that fixed quickly. Um, Preparation, you just need to make sure that you know your space. Each staff member, sorry, each staff member needs to know where we're taking kids. You need to make sure that you have your emergency kit ready that has flashlights, water, first aid, because you never know what's going to happen during that type of a emergency. The response involves administrators and teachers, but also custodians, maintenance crews, bus drivers, district leadership, because the cleanup process after and then planning what to do after the storm is a much bigger issue than just me as a principal or the crisis management team. We're gonna have regular drills, try to get 1 to 6 weeks, one a semester for sure, to make sure that if the real thing happens, that we are prepared. Okay, the one nobody wants to talk about, but it is a very serious thing that I mean, very recently, just in Uvalde a couple years ago. This is real. This is part of our lives. It's a terrible thing, but we have to talk about it. Shooter on campus. It's every educator's worst nightmare, but we have to prepare for it. Our school is going to follow the run, hide, fight protocol. Um, if you can safely get away, we need to run. If you cannot escape, you need to hide properly, away from windows, away from doors, quietly, so that you do not draw attention to the area that you're hiding in. Uh, Lock, barricade doors, silence your phones, and stay quiet so that you do not bring attention. And only as a last resort, and I hope it never happens to anybody in the room, but fight. Um, my first year teaching, we had a resource officer that went to a training, and basically they said that every teacher should have some type of quote unquote weapon um, to defend themselves. And so for years, I've always kept I was a softball coach. I keep a bat in my room. That is not what we want to have to do in front of our kids, but when it comes down to it, your safety, the kids' safety is the most important thing. And if you do not have something that is able to protect you in that situation, then you're handicapping yourself. We hope that it never happens, but it has happened, and so you have to be prepared for it. We're going to make sure that we receive the ALICE training throughout the year so that our reactions become instinctive and not reactive. Communication is going to be silent. It's only going to be through GroupMe. We don't want to draw attention that we know where they're at or anything. If it becomes a situation where shooting does occur, then we're going to make sure that we have a communication system set up so that everybody knows where the shooter's at, so that if we are trying to get away, we are able to not run into danger. Um, After the situation is contained, we will make sure that we focus on getting families back together, reunification, so parents are notified when and where to pick up the kids. Again, we really cannot have daddies coming up here, shotguns loaded, ready to go. We have a police department, we have resource officers. We have to make sure that they're allowed to do their job and not have to worry about parents trying to also take care of that situation. In the days following, we'll make sure that we'll have counselors, we'll have crisis response teams, mental health professionals, so that they are able to cover these kids, because that is a very dangerous thing for them to have to go through mentally. And they are in very fragile state. And so if it does occur, we're going to make sure that we take care of our kids. The prevention piece, we just have to make sure that the police department knows what our goal is whenever we're trying to uh, get this situation taken care of. We have to make sure that when we see people on campus that are not supposed to be there, that we alert the proper people. something that my last superintendent always said is that we have permission to be rude to people that we don't know. If we don't know who they are and they don't have a badge on and they're walking on campus, it is our job to make sure that they are not there without anybody checking them. So um, if you see something suspicious, report it. If you don't think that you're able to confront them, then you need to make sure that you find somebody that can confront them. And when it comes down to it, protect yourself, protect the kids. That is the most important thing. Uh, Last one I want to cover is just loss of electricity. It's a chaotic thing. It sucks, but it does happen. We're in Deep East Texas, and if the wind blows just a little too hard, power lines go down. So we're going to make sure that we assess the situation and figure out an expected duration. Move students to areas that have natural light. A lot of our classrooms have windows, so open up the windows, get some sunlight in there so that it's not just pitch dark. Um, Try to make sure that you keep the kids calm during the situation. You can have a good day or a bad day, good morning, bad morning if the power is out. It's what you decide that you can get done. Always have a backup plan in the classroom. Even I know some of our English teachers they have Scrabble set up, and that's something that it's a word game, and you can do it with just a little bit of light. So we just have to make sure that uh, whenever it happens, that we have a backup plan in order to keep kids busy, in case that we think that the duration's not long enough for us to dismiss school. We're going to use radios. So on the hallway, somebody has a radio, and they're going to be the ones that kind of get the information out. Since we can't use the intercom system, we'll make sure that we put it out on GroupMe as well. Everybody should have a lantern in their classroom. So that's a minimum amount of light. If you would like to add more to your classroom, more power to you. We all have places that we can store those things. So just be prepared as you need to be, depending on your class and where you are. We're gonna have to make sure that if kids are at the restroom, you retreat those kids. Make sure that you have your roster and you have copies of the emergency plans in case we have to get outside the school or whatever those situations may be. And then the people that will be able to help resolve the situations, maintenance, facility staff, local utility companies, possibly transportation director if we have to get kids out earlier because it's going to be a full day thing, and administration. So, in every type of crisis, whether it's fire, intruder, storm, something unexpected, three things always matter most. We have to be prepared. The more prepared that we can be, the better off we're going to be handling the situation. We have to be clear, calm, communication during the event. That's the most important part, in my opinion, is that we have to know what we are trying to do. We have to know how to do it, and we have to be prepared to do anything that we've talked about today. And then coordination and reflection after. So if something works, something doesn't work, we have to be able to talk about that. That's the next most important thing. We have to be able to talk about it, grow from our mistakes. If something works really well, we have to keep that going and try to amplify it as best we can. Our ultimate goal is just to make sure that every student, staff member feels safe, supported at all times through all of these emergencies. A strong crisis plan isn't just about response, but it's about building confidence and consistency in how we respond to it. So thank you. I just appreciate everybody's time today. If you have any questions, please come up right now, or shoot me an email, shoot me a phone call so that we would be able to talk about it. These plans are ever growing. They're not set in stone. So if there's something that I missed or something that you have an opinion about, please feel free to share it with me so that we can try to just make it the best for our community, our school district that we can. Thank you so much.